What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Another video means another dopamine high, except that buy something to feel something. And today we're back at it with another review. And for today's review, we are taking a look at Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series C-3PO and B2 Battle Droid 2-pack. And I think we can all agree we've been waiting for this figure for a very long time. For the longest time, Hasbro has only been giving us B1 Battle Droids and just different repaints of them. And now finally, it seems like Hasbro is starting to break out of that and starting to give us more, troops that we've seen in the CIS. Obviously, here we have the B2 Battle Droid for today's video. And before this, we did get a Magma Guard, and we do have a Droideka on the way. So I'm very excited about that. And I'll admit, before this video, I never really had an interest in collecting any of the CIS droid units. I know before this release, all we had was the B1 Battle Droids and the Magma Guard, but I just never had interest in picking up any of those variants of the B1 Battle Droids, and I don't have the Magma Guard yet. I did pre-order it off of the Big Bad Toy Store, and nothing has shipped yet, but it is what it is. Anyways, I've never had an interest in, the CIS. I've always been more of a troopers kind of guy, whether it was clone or stormtroopers. I just liked collecting my ground infantry kind of units, and that's predominantly what my Black Series collection is made up of, with a few exceptions here and there. But due to this release and the up and coming Droideka and what I've been hearing about the quality of the Magma Guard, it's kind of getting me hyped for the CIS, and I kind of want to take a look back and try and collect some of those B1 Battle Droid variants, because before this video, the only variant I did have was the Republic Commando Battle Droid, because I love Republic Commando, so I do have extreme bias there. But yeah, so this video has kind of made me want to go on my CIS Black Series journey, and I'm probably going to do that. So let's see where that takes me. And at any point during or after the video, you do realize you want to pick up this figure for yourself. This figure is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, going for $49.99. So if you're willing to shill out $50, I will leave a link in the description of the video so you can pick up this figure for yourself. And I do hope at some point further down the road, Hasbro does make this figure a not Hasbro Pulse exclusive and does sell it individually, because I did not really want to spend $50 for this figure. I kind of just wanted the Super Battle Droid and not the C-3PO B1 Battle Droid, but this was the only way I was going to be able to pick up this figure and get a review out as soon as possible. So here we are. But with all that said, let's move on to the review. So starting off with the packaging, it is your standard 2-pack Black Series packaging. We can see the figures included, and everything that is included is there. On the side, we have some artwork of the two figures, and then moving it over to the back, we have that artwork larger, and we can get a brief description of what these figures are all about. And there's nothing on the other side. So back to the front, again, there's the figures, everything included. And that said, let's open up this bad boy. Starting with articulation in the head region, and surprisingly there is some. You can have the face of the B2 Super Battle Droid kind of swivel back and forth just a little bit, kind of open up and whatnot. So there's that. And then when it comes to the arms, you can rotate them up and over 360 degrees, which is nice to see. When it comes to opening up the arms, you can a little bit, not a lot though, which means that you can only open up the arms a little bit as well, which isn't the end of the world for this figure in particular, because this figure is supposed to have somewhat limited articulation. Then when it comes to the elbow, you can rotate the elbow 360 degrees independently from the upper, bicep tricep area, and also from the forearm as well. So there's a lot of rotation going on in the arms, which I really like to see, seeing that is something we do see in the Super Battle Droids. And then when it comes to the elbow bend itself, you can get a solid 90 degrees, because that is how they are manufactured to bend their elbows. So I'm not going to bitch about it not surpassing the 90-degree mark when it comes to the elbow bend. And then when it comes to the hand, you can rotate that 360 degrees and bend it however you please, which is also really nice to see. And overall, for what it is, I'm very happy with the arm articulation on this figure. And when it comes to the torso articulation, we can rotate the torso 360 degrees, which is always nice to see. And then we can get a nice back and forth motion out of the torso as well, which I didn't expect to get with this figure, but here we are. And then of course we can move the figure side to side just a little bit, though still more than I expected out of this figure. And I only say that because in the media that we see the Super Battle Droids in, Super Battle Droids at most just rotate their torsos and don't really get all this other kind of spherical like motion out of their torso. So very happy to see that here on this figure. Finally, when it comes to the legs, you can rotate the legs 360 degrees up and over, which is always nice to see on these figures. And when it comes to the split, it's not exactly the best split in the world, but it is, you know, range that is still there nonetheless. I don't know who's making their Super Battle Droids do splits in the first place, but just in case you want to know how the range in that area was. And then when it comes to the thigh, you can actually rotate the thigh a bit, not a full 360 degree spin, but it's still, you know, nice to have that range and articulation there. And then when it comes to the knee bend, you can get some decent range, so you can put your Super Battle Droid in a action pose or in some kind of running position. So very nice to see that there. And then moving down the leg, you can rotate it 360 degrees, so that is nice to see. And then moving from that calf area onto the foot, you can, you know, rotate the foot 360 degrees and bend the ankle however you please. So after that, very happy with the leg articulation on this figure. When it comes to articulation for C-3PO, you can rotate his head 360 degrees, which is always nice to see on this figure. And when it comes to looking up and down, he has really good range, some of the best range that I've seen in the Black series. I think it's because, you know, he's a droid and all that. And then when it comes to tilting his head side to side, you can, it just doesn't stay, so that motion is there, just it doesn't want to stick. And then you can, you know, bring his head all the way up because it is on a Battle Droid body, and you can still rotate it and all that jazz. So there's that for you. And that's pretty much everything for his head articulation. No complaints on my end. So when it comes to arm articulation on this figure, you can rotate the arms 360 degrees up and over, which is nice to see. When it comes to bringing up the arms, you can get some okay range, which means when it comes to opening up those arms, you get some okay range as well. And then moving away from that to the elbows, the elbow bend is really, really good on this figure. You can surpass the 90-degree mark, but you can also go really far back. So if you want to break your Battle Droid's arm or have it look like it's destroyed on the battlefield, you can definitely do that. And then you can rotate the forearm 360 degrees, which is nice to see on this figure. And then moving down from the forearm with the hand, you can rotate that 360 degrees and bend the wrist however you please. It was a little stuck for me, but enough, you know, nudging, I did able to fix that. But overall, very happy with the arm articulation on this figure. And when it comes to the torso articulation, there really isn't any. You can't rotate the torso. You can move the torso back and forth, but that's really about it. I don't know if I should dock points for this or not. I don't know if it's just because this is how Battle Droids are manufactured. So I don't know what I'm just, you know, whatever. I'm not destroyed by this information. It's just, it is what it is. Just to let you know that this is how the torso is on this figure. And then finally, when it comes to the leg articulation, you can rotate the legs 360 degrees up and over, which is always nice to see on these figures. Then when it comes to the split is arguably worse than the Super Battle Droid split, so there's that for you. And then bringing up the legs, you can bring up the legs so you can have them sit in a chair off the ledge of the cliff, whatever you want. Then moving down to the knee bend is really, really good. Like, you can have them do butt kicks and the legs do lock in with each other, which is a really cool thing to see on this figure. Then when coming down to the feet, you can rotate the feet 360 degrees and bend the ankle however you please. And the ankle joint is separate from the leg and the foot, so there is two joints down there, so there's that. And then the foot itself, so more articulation on this figure the better. So yeah, I'm very happy with the leg articulation on this figure. And getting C-3PO stuff out of the way first for features and accessories. First, we have the Battle Droid backpack. It just plugs into the back and it stays on nice and snug. This is your generic B1 Battle Droid backpack, so I don't really have much to add here. We've seen it all before. And for the blaster included, we do get an E5 blaster. I think Hasbro did a good job getting the visual presentation down. It's just all the same color with this metallic silver, but the sculpt job is pretty good. They got down as many details as they could good from the looks of it. And like with every other Battle Droid release, if you do not want to display this blaster in your figure's hands, you can put it on the Battle Droid backpack, and it fits in all nice and snug there. Now, the Super Battle Droid doesn't have any accessories, but it does have features, starting off with the removable faceplate that exposes the Super Battle Droid's eye and some of the circuitry in his head area, and the head is put on via peg and peg hole, so the only time it is going to come off is when you want to take it off, because that peg and peg hole system keeps it on nice and snug, which is greatly appreciated. And then moving from that, we have the chest piece that is also removable to show some of the circuitry and inner workings of the Super Battle Droid as well, and this is also done through peg and peg hole. So again, the only time you will be able to take off the chest piece is when you want to, so it's not just going to be all flimsy and loose. And one thing about this feature is the only time I think we ever saw this was in my favorite Star Wars video game, Republic Commando, so it just kind of gives me some bias towards this figure that we get to see this feature. And the face and chest piece are interswappable, so you can have the face on without the chest piece and vice versa, as you saw earlier. So again, I really enjoy the fact that Hasbro went the extra mile to include this, not only because it's just flat out cool, but also because Republic Commando. I will never not find ways to shield this game. So when it comes to visual presentation, starting off with C-3PO, just to get him out of the way, I have zero issues with the visual presentation, except for the fact I have a B1 Battle Droid with a C-3PO head, and I really wish that Hasbro threw in a swappable head so you could swap between this and a B1 Battle Droid, but that's besides the point. Visually, I don't think anything really stood out to make me go ew or ick. The body is obviously of a B1 Battle Droid, a mold that we've been seeing for a while now, and I don't think any of us have any issues with it. Again, they got down a bunch of details that we would see on the mechanical soldiers that are the B1 Battle Droids, and I have zero complaints. If anything, I think it's really cool how much detail they got down. And then obviously the head is of C-3PO. I've never owned a C-3PO figure, so I can't really compare this to anything else, but in my opinion, it looks fine. They got down all the details that you would see on C-3PO. And as for the paint job of this figure, this is obviously during the Battle of Geonosis in Episode 2, so the B1 Battle Droid body has that Mars red color, and they did give the body some wear and tear and some black wash because of the harsh environments on Geonosis. So I really like how they just didn't give us a factory new Battle Droid body, rather they touched it up with some, wear and tear, which is greatly appreciated. And as for the C-3PO head, you can see some wear and tear, some black wash on there as well. Not as extensive as the Battle Droid body, but still there and appreciated nonetheless. And overall, very satisfied with the visual presentation of this figure. So moving over to the Super Battle Droid, and I am very happy for a first time release right out of the gate. Hasbro did amazing work on this figure. I really enjoy the amount of detail they were able to sculpt onto this figure. Yeah, some might argue that B2s aren't as detailed as B1s. They're kind of just more round and have more of a plain build, but from the line work that we see in the face, the stomach, and all the detail that we see on the arms and legs, just all those mechanical bits look really, really good, and I'm very happy with them, especially when you pop off the faceplate and the chest plate and you see all the mechanical bits inside of the B2 Super Battle Droid. It just looks phenomenal. It looks like, the innards of a droid, and I'm just very happy with Hasbro taking that extra step and getting all those details down. They could have made it flat, they could have just not done it at all, but they did, and it is greatly appreciated. As for the paint job, I understand that B2 Battle Droids don't have the most exciting color palette. It's just a variety of grays and some silvers, but it still looks good. The variation looks good, it works with itself. And because this B2 Super Battle Droid is also participating in the Battle of Geonosis, Hasbro decided to splash some sand throughout the figure's body, which is a nice attention to detail and really just adds to the figure. And there's probably going to be some people out there who wish that Hasbro didn't add the sand effects onto the B2 Super Battle Droid, because whenever they look at this figure specifically, they're going to associate it with the Battle of Geonosis and this Attack of the Clones 2-pack. And, you know, I can understand the want for a just factory clean Super Battle Droid. So I'm pretty sure Hasbro is going to give us a standalone release of this figure, because Hasbro likes to get as much mileage as they can out of their molds, and we know they've been doing that with the B1 Battle Droid, so I'm pretty sure they're going to do it with the Super Battle Droid as well. So I would expect some kind of individual release later this year, similar to the whole Star Killer situation of how initially he was only available in that exclusive 3-pack, and then later they gave us an individual Star Killer release. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a individual factory clean B2 Battle Droid release later this year. But moral of the story, I enjoyed the visual presentation of this figure. Now with all that out of the way, let's put these bad boys into scale with some size comparisons. Starting off with a Phase 1 501st Clone Trooper, Bad Batch's Wrecker, Bad Batch's Omega, the Book of Boba Fett Chrysanthemum, Jedi Survivor's Imperial KX Security Droid, an Imperial Astromech Droid, and finally for Black Series a Mouse Droid. Then we have NECA's Aliens Xenomorph Warrior, NECA's Predator 2 Elder Predator aka Greyback, Jazzwares' Halo the Spartan Collection Halo 3 Master Chief, Jazzwares' The World of Halo Halo Infinite Master Chief, and then finally we have McFarlane's The Doomslayer. And here we are at the turntable segment of videos, pretty much where I go over what I like, dislike, pros, cons, strengths, weaknesses, just general thoughts and opinions, and just give y'all stuff to think and talk about, and hopefully go down in the comments section below and get a conversation started. And if you do decide to go down there and get a conversation started, I will most likely reply to y'all's comments, because obviously I like talking about this stuff, and because I don't like dwelling on negative things longer than I have to, I'm going to go over the sour stuff first. Unfortunately, I only have one issue with this release, and it's not even something Hasbro did, it's something that they didn't do and that I wish they did, and that would have been to include a swappable head for C-3PO and the Battle Droid Body. It would have been nice if, you know, we were able to choose between either having to display a Battle Droid with C-3PO's head or just have a generic B1 Battle Droid. And I feel like if they went through with that, people would purchase this product multiple times simply to army build. And I'm not saying Hasbro didn't make a lot of money off of this release, because, you know, a lot of people did want the Super Battle Droid, so a lot of people, I'm assuming, did buy this. But I feel like if they really wanted to increase the profit even more, they should have included that swappable head to, you know, have people buy, again, more of these 2-packs to army build. But, you know, they didn't. It is what it is. And, you know, I'm still happy that we got the Super Battle Droid. And I guess bouncing off of that real quickly, another thing that I noticed is, if you do want to buy multiple Super Battle Droids, the first purchase, yeah, you're getting your full $50 worth, because you're getting the unique Battle Droid C-3PO figure and the Super Battle Droid. But after that, when you make a purchase for this 2-pack again and again and again, you're only spending $50 for the Super Battle Droid at that point, because no one's army building, you know, a bunch of B1 Battle Droids with C-3PO heads. And again, that's why I think it should have came with swappable heads. So, you know, when you purchase this thing over and over again, you still get your full $50 worth with every purchase. But figured I'd just throw that in. But after that, getting into the more positive swing of things, there's nothing really positive I can add about the C-3PO Battle Droid thing. I think it's harmless. I think the articulation is fine. B1 Battle Droid articulation has always been fine. There's not really much I can add. It's everything that you would expect from that figure. It doesn't reinvent the wheel in any way or do anything to stick out from the massive portfolio that is the Star Wars The Black Series. But it's not a offensive figure. It doesn't do anything bad. I just do wish that they did include the swappable head. But moving to the Super Battle Droid, there's so much to love about this figure, especially seeing that this is Hasbro's first go at giving us a Super Battle Droid in the Black Series. I enjoy pretty much everything it has to offer. The visuals look great. The articulation is great. You can swivel the arms so you can have him, point his blaster out and have it look like he's firing at whatever you want him to fire at. I really enjoy the extra mile they took in, removing the face and chest plate and having all that detail under there as well. Very happy with how they, executed this. It's probably more than what I initially inspected. I didn't think they were going to do the whole undercarriage thing, but they did. And again, I think for a Super Battle Droid, this is everything we could have asked for in the Black Series. So at the end of the day, I still do recommend this release, but only if you are going to purchase it once, because if you do try the army build off of this 2-pack, you are going to lose a lot of money very fast. But again, I do recommend the one-time purchase because, yeah, I guess it is cool to have a Battle Droid with C-3PO's head. It's a very unique figure, but the real moneymaker here is the Super Battle Droid, and it is so very good. So yeah, I am very happy with how Hasbro handled its release, at least its initial release. So hopefully in the future we can get that individual release for those who don't want to spend $50, understandably. And well, let's see where this takes us. Let's see how many re-releases and variations of the Super Battle Droid Hasbro can give us. So if you did enjoy today's video, a like and subscription would be phenomenal. Don't worry about commenting. I get it. It's a lot of effort moving those fingers. But if you do want to bounce off anything I did say throughout the video, you are more than welcome to. I will most likely reply to y'all's comments because I love talking about this stuff, obviously. And don't worry about the bell. We both know that shit is broken. And if you want to see more content like this, there's plenty of it up on the channel already. I've already reviewed a handful of Star Wars The Black Series stuff. But I also dabble in some other stuff as well, like stuff from the Halo franchise, the Alien franchise, and the Predator franchise. So if any of that does interest you, you're more welcome to go check that out. And with all that being said, please have a great day and stay hydrated. It is important.